Welcome, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar, the second installment of our monthly series called ScreenMiner 30s. Today's topic is titled Engaging Audiences, Tips for Measuring and Maximizing Your Fan Base.
I have to join this webinar thing, but that sounds awesome.
My name is Jonas Swartz, the Customer Success Manager of ScreenMiner. I'm excited to be here today with my Customer Success counterpart, Stephanie Bono, and Agency Lead, Laura Grank. I can't wait to get started, but first, a couple quick housekeeping notes. So the session is being recorded. Unlike the last session, we are in a regular Zoom meeting this time around, so we encourage everyone to turn their cameras on so we can see all of your lovely faces. Please use the chat box at the bottom of the screen for any questions that you have, and we'll be sure to take time towards the end of the session to answer any of the questions that come along the way. Awesome. So a very special thank you for the continued support of our sponsor, TELUS Fund, Bell Fund, and Shaw Rocket Fund. Land acknowledgement. So Magnify Digital specializes in audience development strategy, training, and technology for the cultural industries. We have an international team here with headquarters in Vancouver, where we are privileged to work on the unceded and traditional territory of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish peoples. So we're going to start off today with a quick recap of the last webinar. We will then showcase a live demo of our new platform features, mainly going over benchmarking and engagement, while also explaining how to interpret these data points. From there, we'll provide tips on how to engage your audience and increase your social media fan base. Lastly, we'll wrap things up with a Q&A and then look ahead to next month for the third installment of the webinar series. Okay, so as a quick refresher, last month, we spoke about the genesis of ScreenMiner. Some of the main points that we covered were that traditionally, producers have a narrow data sets. Audience consumption habits are changing. Projects have been typically undervalued. There's no current standardized method of data collection. Collecting and reporting is onerous for the producer. This has kind of caused an expanded role for producers to tackle this extra data collection and reporting. And ScreenMiner was created to support producers and project success. So in terms of value proposition, ScreenMiner empowers producers with new metrics and insights in an easy-to-use format. It aggregates data, saving you tons of time and effort, extracting data manually, or paying for external trackers. It enables you to adjust your marketing strategy and help build a larger audience. It makes reporting to funders and other stakeholders quick and easy. All right, now it's time for the live demo portion of the webinar. Just give me 1 second here, just switch my view. Perfect. Okay, so benchmarking. So have you ever wondered how your project stacks up against similar projects? How is your Instagram viewership performing compared to other one-off documentaries? How is your health and wellness mini-series engaging TikTok audiences compared to similar series? ScreenMiner's benchmarking feature makes this possible for the first time in our sector, which is super exciting. So let's take a look at the benchmarking feature in action. So here we're on a homepage. This is a demo project with multiple seasons called Aces High. So when we click on the configure on the top right-hand side, this opens up our sidecar menu. Here we have two main views for benchmarking. The first is benchmarking by platform, which you see under presentation mode. And then the second is benchmarking by aggregate, which means total viewership data. Each of these views have the same options to filter by, so we can see language, genre, scripted or unscripted. As you can see, there are lots of variables, and when the ScreenMiner database has more projects and data for a wide range of shows, you'll be able to dig deep. So just for the sake of time, I've preloaded benchmarking by platform for English projects only. Normally, you would just click the filters you want, and apply button would hit here, and then you just hit close. Okay, so now we're looking at the main viewership page of the benchmarking. So here we can see that this user is underperforming by quite a bit for YouTube viewership, right? So this, the solid shaded bar graph is their views, and then the shaded one is the benchmarking. So we can see that their total view count for YouTube is about 17,500, whereas the benchmarking, so for all English projects across our platform, is over 585,000. So what might this mean, or what questions does this prompt us to consider? Maybe certain things like how much effort has been put into our YouTube marketing, more or less in other platforms. Maybe starting to think about things of what kind of content does my YouTube channel have compared to my other platforms? Is it engaging and relevant to viewers? So let's look at other data to see if we can learn more. This brings us to our engagement page. Just give it a second to load here, just generating all of the visuals. So on the engagement page, tracking social media across various platforms, as we know, has been a pain point for producers, social media managers alike. ScreenMiner's new engagement page was created to make things a whole lot easier. Users can now track all of their social media data in one place. So here we're at the top of the page. You'll see there's two super helpful charts. The first one on the left is total followers and subscribers over time, and then followers and subscribers, total followers and subscribers. So to clarify, okay, so only dedicated accounts that are set up, so social media accounts that we set up as dedicated, will appear in the top two charts, and I'll just quickly explain what that means. So to clarify, sometimes a social media channel posts content for multiple shows or multiple IPs. You might have channels like these if you are a big production company or work for a broadcaster. So ScreenMiner has two settings when you're initially onboarding and setting up your linked accounts. The first one is dedicated, which means that all content from connected social media account is directly related to the project. And then the second type is shared, which means that some of the content from the connected social media account is unrelated to the project. That is, like, it has content belonging to other series or one-offs. So the two charts at the top track followers on dedicated channels only. So when we look at followers and subscribers over time by platform, several data points and chart features that can further inform our YouTube performance. For example, we can toggle each platform on and off and isolate the data for comparative views. So example, we can just see how YouTube compares to Twitter, Twitter compares to Facebook, all of that. So again, some of the questions that we can start asking here is, how is my YouTube viewership doing compared to just Twitter? For those that attended our last session, you might remember the activity log feature, which you see here. So clicking this icon allows users to input key audience development activities, just at the top here, the activity log. This is where we can create it. So some of the activities, for example, is the start and end dates of a YouTube ad campaign, right, following the theme of YouTube and marketing. And then you can lay it over viewership to see if you can find any correlations. So again, some questions that come to mind. Did your campaign drive the kind of outcome, perhaps the increase in views you had hoped for? Once again, this is a way to get a sense of what's working and what needs to be refined. And historically, this kind of reporting and analysis happens long after campaigns end. ScreenMiners helps you to see what's going on when there's time to apply the insights and optimize results. Just a quick fun fact, as a feature that we've added in, users have the ability to toggle on the activity log, as well as zooming in on your graph and favoriting any chart to your homepage, as well as fund a report. And you can do that. So you see on each chart here, there's a little kind of bar graph logo. If you click into it, you can toggle on. So right now, activity logs are showing, you can toggle it off. You can magnify the numbers, and then you can add any of these custom charts to your homepage when you first log in, and then the report when it is time to send it over to the funders. Okay, so when we do toggle on the activity log for followers and subscribers over time, we can see that from right here, when we highlight over here, December 17th to January 1st, we ran a YouTube ad campaign. Based on this chart, it did not appear to spike followers, because we can see kind of on our aggregate here that YouTube is our lowest follower count out of any of our social media platforms. So again, what just kind of brainstorming, prompting here, what kind of questions could we ask ourselves here is, actually, I'll pose this one to the room. So like, in other words, what kind of questions do you ask yourself when you're assessing the social media performance of your content? Any thoughts here? Just maybe some prompts to get the juice flowing. Is it maybe start thinking like, is it possible that our complementary content, such as trailers, promos, behind the scenes, etc., maybe it's better suited potentially for a different platform such as TikTok? Any other things like that kind of come to mind when you're assessing the strategy? Nope, that's okay. We'll touch more on media strategy when Laura takes over shortly. All right, so the next chart I want to briefly look at is the total engagements by post type and platform. So right over here. So this chart shows all of the different types of posts per platform, both video and static. So you can see, for example, Facebook, it shows 42 video posts, 8 image posts. With Twitter, it shows 5 video posts, 6 image posts, and 3 text posts. So you'll notice at the bottom of this chart is a stat or a data point called average engagement per post. So this is all engagements, so all of the likes, comments, shares, etc., divided by the number of posts. Excuse me. So we can see that, unsurprisingly, the average total engagements is very low for YouTube, just all the way at the end here, about just over 1,800. So what does this tell us ultimately? Right, it tells us that the content that we're posting isn't really generating a lot of content. We're not getting the most out of it compared to TikTok or Instagram, which has quite a bit higher. We can see that our TikTok average engagement per post is pretty much 10x that of YouTube. Okay, now the last chart I kind of wanted to focus on here is, when we scroll down, we can see the YouTube engagements chart, which provides an even further breakdown of the YouTube data. So this chart allows us to filter by comments, likes, dislikes, and posts. So when we isolate, so you can see that we can toggle these on. When we isolate for just comments and likes, we can see that there was a brief spike around mid-December to early January, which kind of makes sense because it coincides with the YouTube ad campaign that we ran. But what's interesting is kind of pretty much right after that point, there was a drop off again in mid-January onwards, right? So we saw that initial spike, and then a drop off from there. So what kind of initiatives can we take to improve our YouTube engagement long-term instead of just kind of having this very brief spike? What can we do? What sorts of things can we do to make these numbers higher, more consistent, and grow our audience or fan base over time? I'll hand it over to our resident expert and agency lead, Laura, to answer some of these questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Jaina. I'll just get you to switch back to the presentation just while you're there. Thank you. And
Yes.
Thank you very much to everybody for giving us your time early on Wednesday morning. Very much appreciated. So as the second largest search engine, YouTube really does offer a wealth of opportunities to kind of grow your online audience. It's really critical to get the fundamentals of your channels in line to ensure that you're set up for success from the start. So let's jump into it. Today, we'll be going through 5 tried and true tactics that can help you optimize your YouTube channel. So the first one is optimizing your video's visibility. To increase the chances of your content appearing when audiences are searching on YouTube for a topic that's kind of related to your project, you need to ensure that you're following YouTube search engine optimization or SEO best practices. So some of you might have heard of SEO when you're talking about websites, but it should really be applied across pretty much every audience touch point that you have online with your projects. So SEO essentially means that you're optimizing your content to ensure that it's showing up when people are searching for that information online. So you've probably seen it in the organic search results when you're Googling for your favorite restaurant for a particular cuisine or anything like that. Some of these websites would have optimized to show up for Greek food or anything like that. So the same theory applies over on YouTube. So you know what your project is about, and I'm sure you've already got several keywords in mind that you do want your content to appear for. So when writing the title and the description for your videos, it's really important to think about these keywords that are relevant to your project, but it's also really important to think about how audiences might think about the topic or the content as well when they're searching online. So always try and put yourself in their seat as well when you're coming up with the keywords that you're wanting to implement in your title, your description, your tags, kind of any written piece on your YouTube account. So according to YouTube, the first few sentences of your video's description are weighted more heavily by Google's algorithm. So this is really important to make sure that your keywords are appearing in the first portion of your description write-up. Ideally, we want to be aiming for about 125 to 175 words for your description. Obviously, that's just the general rule of thumb. You don't have to hold yourself to that. That's just like a general best practice. So we also want to make sure we're making use of YouTube's categories and tags. So obviously, a really good place to start with this is our chosen keywords, but as I mentioned, we also want to think about variations of the keywords that audiences might be using as well. Moving on to custom thumbnails. So custom thumbnails are an essential part of optimizing your video's visibility on YouTube. Obviously, there's a lot of competition online when people are seeing videos show up in the search results. So we want to make sure our content stands out. YouTube actually states that 90% of the most viewed videos on YouTube use custom thumbnails. So a custom thumbnail is a still image that represents your video, and it helps viewers decide whether to click on your video or not. So this is your chance to kind of play around, get really creative to capture your audience's attention. We want to be using high quality images with bold fonts and contrasting colors to make your thumbnail stand out. I know it's really tempting just to use the kind of automatic thumbnails that YouTube lets you use, but we really do encourage you to take advantage of this feature. So looking at end cards and playlists. So end cards are clickable elements that appear at the end of your video. They are quite often forgotten, but they're a really easy feature to implement. And they can be used to encourage viewers to subscribe to your channel or just keep watching more of your content. So adding end cards is an excellent way to keep viewers engaged with your content and increase the watch time. So we just always want to make sure that the suggested content that we're putting in our end cards is actually related to the content that the audience has just watched. Otherwise, we're going to lose them very quickly. So one important thing to note is that these cards aren't available to videos that have been identified as for kids. It's obviously just an online safety feature by YouTube. So I'm sure a lot of you are already doing this, but creating playlists based on seasons or topics is another great way to keep viewers watching your videos for longer. So when a user watches a video from a playlist, YouTube actually automatically plays the next video in that playlist. So your playlist title is also a really easy opportunity to get SEO going again on your channel. So this is where we can put in some of our keywords within the title of our playlist. So looking at engagement. So we all know engagement's really crucial to building a loyal following on YouTube. We want to make sure that our comments are turned on and that we're making sure that we're actually responding to them. That's quite often forgotten. You'll see there's thousands of comments, but no response from the actual owners of the channel. So we want to make sure that we're responding to them, that we're asking questions, keeping them engaged, and trying to create content from any engagement that you might receive from audiences. So some examples of this might be like shout outs to fans that are really consistent on your channel. If you're able to spotlight or feature them on your channel somehow, either on YouTube or Facebook, and then sending them back to YouTube, or even reaction videos. If you have some really dedicated fans, you can get them to do reaction videos to your content. So some channels might also be able to get access to community posts. So you can see that in the screenshot here. It's a tab that will appear on your channel. This feature is actually only available if you have over 1,000 subscribers, and it is something that you do have to turn on. But if you do get access to it, you can interact with viewers using rich media. So this can include polls, quizzes, GIFs, text, images, and videos. These posts allow you to connect with your audiences outside of just general video uploads. And yeah, as I mentioned, for this tab to be available, you have to enable access. So there's more information available about that online. And engaging with your community obviously not only helps build your relationship with your viewers, but can also increase the likelihood of your videos being shared and recommended to others. If they become loyal followers, they're more likely to share it with their friends and family. Looking at advertising on YouTube. So it's really important to consider paid YouTube ads to promote your videos. So in general, marketing has really kind of unfortunately become a pay-to-play space. So organic promotion alone isn't really enough to reach wider audiences these days. So as we saw in Jonah's example, YouTube ads are an excellent way to increase the visibility and attract new viewers to your channel. So YouTube has really, really good targeting opportunities. Kind of scary the amount of information they have on us, but you can target specific audiences based on demographics, interest, viewing habits, etc. And you can take learning from videos that you've used previously, just kind of in organic efforts. So you know that work has worked well with your audiences previously, or you can create something brand new when you're wanting to work with a paid campaign. Whatever approach you take with your content, we always just want to make sure that it's relevant to the targeting that we've applied for our audiences. So paid ads may require an investment, which can be a little bit scary, but it can be really worthwhile to kind of get your channel noticed. So if it's a new channel, to really launch it, or if it's a channel that's kind of gone a little bit dormant, it's a great way to boost it up. I did just want to add, I understand that this is you've obviously got a lot going on as producers. There's a lot for you to manage, especially with YouTube. It's just one of, no doubt, 1,000 channels that you're managing. So there are platforms and applications out there that can help you with managing certain platforms. One for YouTube that's really, really popular that has seen a lot of success is TubeBuddy. So if you have funding available and you're able to kind of work with somebody like TubeBuddy, I would really recommend it. They've got some great resources around SEO, around the thumbnails, pretty much everything we went over today. They kind of simplify it a lot for you. But yeah, thank you so much for your time this morning. I hope you find these tips useful in growing your audiences on YouTube. Good luck with everything. Happy to chat anything through if anyone has any questions. And I'll now pass you back over to Jonah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Laura. Really helpful advice. I hope everyone was taking notes for that, because she covered some great stuff. So just to kind of summarize, when we went over the live demo, the two new features that we kind of explored on ScreenMiner was benchmarking, which ultimately enables users to compare project performances from anonymized platform data. Then we went and explored the engagement page, which lets you drill down into your social media traction and pragmatically address areas of opportunity. From there, Laura went into some agency tips on YouTube, and the 5 kind of tips that she shared were optimizing your video's visibility, creating custom thumbnails, adding end cards and creating playlists, engaging with your YouTube community, and then advertising with a paid YouTube ad campaign. All right, so from here, we'll open up the floor. If you haven't already, I'm sharing my screen so I can't see questions, but please pop your questions into the chat box, and my colleague Stephanie will read them out to the room. So any questions that might have come up either before the webinar or anything that came up during our discussion here. Anything about the live demo that we covered, benchmarking, engagement, or anything about YouTube, YouTube tips that Laura covered, or social media marketing in general? You have the floor.
Steph's muted, so I can jump in.
I'm sorry.
Classic Zoom. Sorry. Okay. Jessica's asked, could you walk us through again how to connect the show from the network platform to our ScreenMiner account? I think it was mentioned last time that it would be automatic.
Okay, so repeat it one more time. Connecting the show.
To connect the show from the network platform to our ScreenMiner account.
Okay, and
So,
by network. Sorry, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I think you're onto it.
Okay, I'm just a bit unclear. Network platform, meaning like YouTube, social media platform?
Broadcaster perhaps, but I'll let Jessica. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, I can't see, so you have to read it out to me.
Sorry, yep, she says CBC Gem. There we go.
Okay, got it. So there are certain agreements in place. So CBC Gem is one of them, where we have a special agreement with them. So we would be uploading the broadcaster data that we receive from them from the back end. So the producer wouldn't actually be doing it. Our dev team would be uploading that data from the back end. But if you have kind of manual data that you get directly, that's not CBC Gem, so your own kind of broadcaster data, to upload that, you would go to update, Underneath update, you go to viewership. And here is where you would add any data that isn't automatically linked to an account. So I did cover this on the first session, but real quick, there's a very common example where, say you have third-party content that you don't have direct access to. So a third-party YouTube account that has content related to your show, you don't have access to it. Here you can add that post. So you can put the streaming date of that video, the platform type. So YouTube, using that example, platform name, and then you can input the views that it got from that video. So this is where you can input all of your manual viewership data that isn't directly linked to your accounts. I hope that answered your question, Jessica.
She
Any
says
other?
thank you.
Thank you.
She does. Okay, I like the narrating here. Were there any other questions? Nope, that seems it. So let's do a quick look ahead to next month in June, which is coming up fast. Can't believe we're already halfway through the month of May already. So look out for our next edition of ScreenMiner 30s next month in early June. Stay tuned for topic announcements and newsletter content on that. And then last but not least, so thank you all so much for coming. We look very forward to continuing this webinar series into next month and beyond, and connecting with you all in June. It was so great being able to see everyone's face this time in a meeting setting. Lastly, you will be sent a very brief exit survey, so please take the time to fill that out, and any feedback is obviously much appreciated.